Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about identity and access management in AWS. So this is going to be a short hands-on lab. So what we're going to do is create a new IAM user, assign permissions, and then sign in to that account to prove access. So IAM, or Identity and Access Management, controls access to AWS resources. It basically answers who can access what. Now, who can be users, user groups, or roles, and these could be assigned policies, which are JSON documents. Now, these policies define which actions are allowed or denied on what resources. For example, a user could be assigned a policy that allows them read-only access to certain S3 buckets, and this is exactly what we're going to do in this video. Now, from the AWS console, open services and then click on security, identity and compliance, and then click on IAM. Now once you're in the identity and access management page, you can see in the left menu you've got users. So you're going to click on users there, and then you can click on create user. Now the first thing that you're going to see here is giving it a name. So let's say we're going to give it example user, and then we're going to click on next. Now you can either attach policies directly to that user, or you can create a group, attach policies to that group, and then add that user to that group. And it's recommended to just use groups since it's easier to manage, especially if you have a large number of users to manage. Now the first thing I'm going to do is give this user group a name. So let's say, for example group. And here we've got a list of all the policies that we can attach to this user group. Now, as I said in the beginning of this video, I want to give this user access or read-only access to S3 buckets. So in the search bar in here, you can type in S3, and here you can find all the policies related to S3. For example, you can provide Amazon S3 full access, and as I said, I want to provide read-only access to all buckets. So I'm going to check this box right here. As you can see, it says Amazon S3 read-only access, and then I'm gonna click on create user group. Now, once the user group is created, don't forget to check this box so that we can select the group. Otherwise, the user will not be added to the group. And then I'm going to click on next. You can review all your settings, and then you can click on create user. Now, once the user is created, I'm going to click on that user name. And here, as you can see, console access is disabled. What this means is that in order to read the S3 buckets or whatever policy you have attached to this user, you need to use the CLI or the command line interface. Now, to make things easier, I'm going to enable console access. So what I'm going to do is click on security credentials, and then I'm gonna hit enable console access. So as you can see, we can click on enable under console access, and then we're going to set a password so that we can securely log into the AWS console as this user. Now, as for the password, we're gonna go with auto-generated password, and before we can click on close, we need to first copy the password so that we can log into the console using this user or as this user. So this is of course the link or the URL that we're going to use so that we can log in as this user. So we can go ahead and copy this URL into our browser, and then we've got the IAM username. So of course it is example user, and of course we've got the password. We can paste that password, and now we have successfully connected to the AWS console as this user. Now, of course, the only thing we can do here is read AWS buckets. So the only thing we can do is, of course, see the buckets that are already created within AWS S3. you can see the list of buckets already created within AWS S3. Now, if I wanted to try and create a bucket, so I'm going to click on create bucket here. And first, of course, I'm going to give it a name. So let's say example bucket. And then I'm going to scroll down and simply click on create bucket. As you can see, I've got an error message because simply this user does not have the permission to create buckets, but only to view them. Now I'm going to sign back into my main or my admin account. Now what I'm going to do next is create an IAM role that another account or another AWS account can assume. So what I'm going to do is click on IAM, and from IAM I can click on roles, and then from roles I can click on create role. So in here, you've got the trusted entity type. So you've got a number of types here. So this basically means to whom or to what do you want this role to go to. For example, it can go to an AWS service, an AWS account, a web identity, and so on. As I said, I want this role to go to another AWS account. So I'm going to choose AWS account. Now we can scroll down and specify which AWS account we want to trust. So you can click on another AWS account and specify the account ID. Now, since I don't have any other AWS accounts, I'm just going to click on this account for the sake of this video. After that, here you can see the policies. So you can choose any policy that you want. For example, I'm going to go with administrator access. And then after that, you're gonna give that role a name. So now basically this role now has a trust policy who's allowed to assume it, and a permissions policy, which what they can do once they assume it. In other words, if we have actually chosen another account, this other account can access our account and can do what we have permitted them to do. And this is pretty much it. I hope everything was clear. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. And if you want to check my AWS or other cloud computing courses, check the link in the description below. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And I'll see you in the next video.